Imagine the most dangerous person you've ever met in your life. Now, picture your grandmother. A sweet woman, soft hands, always smiling, always cooking, always offering you something to eat. Now, what if I told you that woman was the most dangerous person in the room? Between 1927 and 1954, one woman in the American South poisoned, smothered, and killed 11 members of her own family. Husbands, children, grandchildren, her own mother. And every single time investigators sat her down and asked her about it, she giggled. This is the story of Nannie Doss, the Giggling Granny. Nannie was born in 1905 in Blue Mountain, Alabama. To call her childhood difficult would be an insult to the word. Her father, Jim Hazel, was a controlling, abusive man who pulled his children out of school to work the farm. No dances, no makeup, no social life, no freedom. When Nannie was just 7 years old, she was riding a train when it lurched suddenly, and she slammed her head into a metal rail hard. She suffered headaches, blackouts, and depression for the rest of her life. She later blamed that train ride for everything that followed. But what Nannie did have was an obsession with romance. She devoured her mother's romance magazines. She dreamed of the perfect love, a perfect husband, a perfect life, the kind of thing her father had always forbidden her from having. That fantasy would become her justification for murder. At 16, Nannie married her first husband, Charlie Braggs. Within a few years, 2 of their children died from what was called food poisoning. Charlie got an anonymous tip: "Don't eat anything Nannie cooks." He fled. He was the only husband who survived. Husband number 2, a violent alcoholic. He allegedly attacked her one night. The next morning, she dropped rat poison into his whiskey. He was dead by evening. But here's what makes Nannie Doss so uniquely terrifying. She wasn't doing this out of rage. She wasn't erratic. She wasn't impulsive. She was methodical, patient, cheerful. She would nurse her victims back to health when they got sick, and then poison them again, slowly, until they stayed down. 4 husbands, 2 of her own children, 2 grandchildren, her mother, her sister, her mother-in-law. Arsenic and rat poison hidden in food she made with her own hands, in a kitchen that smelled like love. It all finally unraveled in 1954. Husband number 5, Samuel Doss, died suddenly just days after leaving the hospital. His doctor was suspicious. An autopsy was ordered. Inside Samuel Doss's body was enough arsenic to kill a horse. Police arrested Nannie the same day, and when they sat her down to interrogate her, she didn't cry, she didn't shake, she didn't beg. She laughed. Investigators were stunned. Here was a grandmother, soft, warm, friendly, giggling as she casually admitted to poisoning 4 of her husbands. One detective reportedly said, "She acted like we were chatting about the weather." She confessed, not under pressure, not to cut a deal, but because, apparently, she just didn't see what the big deal was. In return for being allowed to keep her romance magazine, she told them everything. Forensic psychologists who studied her case found something deeply unsettling. Nannie didn't kill for money, though she did collect insurance. She didn't kill for power. She killed because reality kept disappointing her fantasy. Every husband who drank too much, every husband who cheated, every husband who disapproved of her romance magazines, every person who stood between her and the perfect life she'd read about, became a problem she simply resolved. She genuinely believed she was the victim of bad luck in love, not a killer, just a woman searching for happiness. Nannie Doss was found guilty of murder in 1955. A judge later declared her insane and removed her death sentence, saying he didn't want to set a precedent by executing a woman with mental illness. She reportedly seemed thrilled about her life sentence. She died in prison in 1965 of leukemia, smiling by all accounts until the end. 11 people, 27 years, not one person suspected the woman who made the best pies in the county. The scariest predators in history didn't lurk in the dark. They sat at the dinner table and asked you if you wanted seconds.